Hey health heroes, welcome back to Adamimmune, the channel all about helping you improve your autoimmune health naturally. And today I'm proud to introduce someone to you, someone that eats and lives very similar to me, like uncanny similar. I found this person on Instagram and then I checked out her blog and I was just blown away by all the tips and techniques that she uses that are very similar to mine. And I thought this person needs to get out there. She just started a YouTube channel and I would love for her channel to grow just like mine has, and it'll probably overtake me eventually. But her name is Shanna and the blog is Wellness Unraveled. Same name for the YouTube channel, Wellness Unraveled. I really wanted to share her story and some of her best tips on this channel with this community. So without further ado, here's Shanna.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Anytime I get a chance to talk about the Autoimmune Protocol, I am a happy camper. It has really changed my life as I've learned how to live with autoimmune disease, and so I'm so passionate about raising awareness that what we eat matters, how we live matters, and that there are ways that we can live well with autoimmunity. Alright, so I'm so excited to talk about troubleshooting the Autoimmune Protocol, and I know for me, when I started the Autoimmune Protocol, it was so hard. There were no rainbows, no butterflies. It was just pretty overwhelming and hard, but the amazing thing is that in time I found great relief from my autoimmune symptoms. And so with that said, I did notice that some days I felt better than other days. And so I started to really pay attention to what I was eating and what I was doing on those days that I felt better than other days, and on the days where I didn't feel as well. And so I found in my experience that, so I started the Autoimmune Protocol about 1.5 years ago. I was on elimination phase for 10 months and then I started reintros. I still only have a few reintros, like a small handful, because I'm pretty happy eating the way I am and I keep traveling more, and we just moved and we keep doing all of these things. So I'm kind of pushing myself physically, and so I am still reintroing, but I'm just going real slow. So anyways, I found that over this journey, this AIP journey I've been on, that it's really been lots of tweaking, lots of fine tuning, lots of figuring out, okay, I feel better when I do this. Okay, I don't feel as good when I eat these foods, even though they're technically AIP. So anyway, I want to share today kind of my experience with troubleshooting the Autoimmune Protocol. So with that said, I'm a big believer in bioindividuality, meaning what works best for me and my body may look differently than what works best for you and your body. So I'm not in any way saying this is the right way, do it this way. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a naturopath. Okay, so first up, I found that getting a variety of nutrients was really important in my AIP journey. It was really tempting for me at first to, as I was like learning how to cook cleanly and learning what foods I could eat and what foods I couldn't eat, it was super tempting just to find like, okay, these are my 3 go-to meals. This is what I'm sticking to. Staying in my lane over here. I'm looking at you AIP tacos and baked sweet potatoes with cauliflower rice and turkey, and this is what I'm good with. But I noticed that I felt better when I like stepped outside of my AIP go-to comfort meals, and when I really tried to incorporate a variety of vegetables, a variety of proteins, a variety of fats, when I cooked different ways that just helped me change it up too, and a variety of fruits. And so it's really important for autoimmune health that we get a variety of nutrients, and I did notice I felt better that way. All right, next up, limiting natural sugars. So just because a food is AIP approved, it doesn't mean we should eat it all day, every day, right? And so actually one of my culprits, I love fruit, like love fruit, all different kinds, and there's a lot of fruits that are AIP approved, but I noticed pretty early on that on the days where I was eating a lot of fruit, I wasn't feeling as well. So I'm not saying don't eat fruit, I still eat fruit every day, I just don't eat a lot of servings of fruit. One of my big culprits was when it was getting in the warmer months, I was digging on the pitaya bowls and smoothies and smoothie bowls, and the thing about the ones that I was eating was one serving contained, one pitaya bowl contained multiple servings of fruit, and coconut water, which is also higher in natural sugar too. And so I noticed that when I was eating one of those, I felt worse. And usually I had been eating fruit other times that day and I wasn't pairing it with a protein. And so for me personally, I know that if I still have like a smoothie and a potato bowl, but I just know to limit my fruit and other points in that day, and also to eat a protein with it. I've noticed I feel better. All right, next up, including protein in meals. So I found it super important that we macro balance our meals. In other words, that we have, you know, protein, that we have fats, that we have carbs in the form of vegetables, and then I usually enjoy like a serving of fruit for a dessert. But even if my meals are not perfectly macro balanced, like if I'm on the go, if I'm traveling, I always at least include protein in my meals. I've noticed that when I don't, like, it's not pretty. It never feels, I feel worse. And so sometimes it can be really hard when eating out or when traveling to macro balance your meal to make sure that you have a protein. There's this place that I love to eat at. They have organic produce. They have great sources for all their food. It's locally sourced. I love this place, but all of their meats are seasoned with non-AIP foods. They have canola oil, so I have to stay away from all their proteins, but I love their salad. I build one of their salads and I call it Party in My Mouth salad because it's so good. But anyways, I was out last week and we were like shopping for furniture or something, and we're out and it was time for a meal, and I'm usually so good about bringing my food with me. I'm like, I've learned I've just gotta do it. But you know, it's like one of those days where you are gone way longer than you thought. And so I got my Party in My Mouth salad, and I realized I didn't have any source of protein with me. And sure enough, within a few hours, I felt pretty bad. So again, it wasn't like the end of the world, but I try to always have like a Epic bar with me at least, or some kind of protein source, so that even if I can't find a meal with a protein that's safe, that I feel safe eating, I can at least have my salad and then a protein bar. But usually, like I said, I always pack my food, and I didn't this time. So anyway, right, so next up, eating enough real whole foods. So before I started AIP, I was all about the protein shakes and gluten-free breads, and then I started AIP, and it was all about the real unprocessed whole foods. And so there was like a huge adjustment period for me, emotionally and physically. And one of the things I noticed was I needed to listen to my body when it comes to like hunger cues and how much food to eat. There's a period of time where I just wasn't eating enough food. I didn't realize how much food my body needs when I eat real whole foods. And so I think I surprise a lot of people by how much food I eat as far as quantity goes. But that was something that I had to get out of my mind and just listen to my body. Okay, this is how much food I need to eat at a meal if I eat 3 times a day. And it just comes with time and experience. So just make sure that you're getting enough food. All right, so meal spacing. I found that meal spacing has been key to my AIP journey too. So I don't have like this is the answer, but when I started, for some reason, so my gut was it was in pretty bad shape, and I had a number of issues going on, but at the beginning of my AIP journey, I felt better physically if I ate 5 to 6 smaller meals a day. Somewhere along the past year and a half, that changed. I now feel great eating 3 meals a day, larger meals. I macro balance them. By the way, if you need help figuring out how to macro balance, Chronometer is a great resource. They have an app, they have a website, you can put in your food in there. I never count calories anymore. I haven't counted calories since I started AIP. But it's great for figuring out if you're getting enough protein and fats and everything. And they break nutrients down too, which is awesome. But anyways, so I eat 3 larger meals now a day, and the thought of eating 5 or 6 smaller meals makes my stomach turn. That does not feel right. So I would say listen to your body. There's experts saying one thing or the other, and I have experience with both. I would say listen to your body. And when I say listen to your body, I don't mean if your body tells you to go through a drive-through and pick up some fast food, that's not AIP. I'm not talking about that. Well, that's a whole nother issue. Those are cravings going on that you're gonna have to get through, and you can get through them. But I'm just saying, as far as like what feels right, you're just gonna have to kind of play with the meal and with the meal spacing, and it's just something to be aware of. Okay, so food sensitivity. So just because a food is AIP approved, it doesn't mean that you won't have a sensitivity to it, or that you'll feel awesome if you eat it. In other words, so my experience was, after a period of time, I noticed that I was feeling a little bit unwell after eating onions, garlic, avocado, things like that. And I'm not gonna get into FODMAPs or low FODMAP really, but just kind of a heads up. Just pay attention. Even if a food is AIP approved, it doesn't mean it's gonna feel best in your body when you eat it. So again, just be in tune with what feels good, and if you can tie, you know, if you need to keep a food journal. I only kept a food journal in the beginning. This I just kind of like, so onions and garlic and avocado are like 3 of my favorite foods. So I eat them a ton, and so that's how I noticed those aren't sitting so well. And it's one of those things that for me, it just cleared up in time. I cut them out, I eliminated them for, I think it was a few months, and then I slowly started adding them back in, and I was fine. Now I'm very happy all about the onions and garlic and avocado. So just because you have a sensitivity to an AIP food temporarily doesn't mean you can never eat it again. Okay, so rushing reintroductions. I am so guilty of this. I was sure I was gonna be like the 30 to 90 day AIP elimination phaser. And so I think I was around 45 days-ish when I started reintroductions, and I totally messed them up. I didn't handle them right. I reintroduced things too fast. I thought I was feeling so much better for my autoimmune symptoms that I was like, I've got this reintroductions thing, no problem, I'm invincible. And it was, boy, did I get knocked down a lot of rungs. I felt like I had to start back at square one. I got really sick. Now, keep in mind, I was at rock bottom prior to starting AIP, and so my reaction was pretty intense. And so I kind of had to get everything back in line, and I ended up being on elimination phase for 10 months. So I took some time to work through those. So anyways, don't get discouraged if you're like me, if reintroductions aren't working after 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. Your body may need more time. My body took a long time to get sick. I was battling health symptoms for over a decade before I was diagnosed. I did not know what was wrong with me. My symptoms kept getting worse and worse and more frequent and more frequent. And so it's okay that my body needed more time on the elimination phase. It's been worth 100% every effort, every sacrifice. I have my life back. Like, that's what's important. Rushing reintroductions is not worth it. And again, if you're in a spot where you're ready for reintroductions after 30 days, like, yay, that's awesome. But if you're not, that's okay too. So, and I feel your pain. Okay, so AIP baking and sweets. Confession, when I started the Autoimmune Protocol, I had no idea there were ways to bake AIP treats and sweets. So I stuck to like proteins, veggies, fruits, fats, and just went with that for several months. And looking back, I'm so grateful that I didn't know there was AIP treats and sweets, because it forced me to break through those, you know, sugar cravings. I was addicted to sugar when I started AIP. I had something, I was an emotional eater, I had to overcome that. And that still pops up, by the way, occasionally here and there if I'm not careful. So then I have to address that. But anyways, in time, I learned that there are AIP sweets and treats. And so I do have one occasionally. I seem to be fine if I have one. Where I've run into problems is I ordered an AIP cake from somewhere, which was amazing. And I ate the whole thing. It was like this big. And I ate the whole thing within a week, and I did not feel good at all. So again, if I have a treat, AIP treat, like once every week or two, I seem to be fine. But just a heads up, if you're not feeling that great, take a look at if you're eating too many treats or sweets or AIP baking goods. Along with that, let's talk coconut, plantain, and cassava chips. I love them all so much. But again, if I eat cassava chips every day, maybe it's the quantity I'm eating. I don't feel like I'm eating that many, but I notice I don't feel as well. So I try to stay away from eating cassava chips, plain chips very often. I don't have them too often. And again, I just feel best when I stick to the proteins and veggies and fruits and fats, and I still make incredible recipes. I didn't at first. I stuck very simple AIP for a lot of months, but now it's been a year and a half. I'm loving some AIP pulled pork and Swedish meatballs and roast and shepherd's pie. Like, you can make some incredible AIP things. So I do that now, but and I don't have issues when I cook like that. But just a heads up, if you're eating too many of the AIP snacky foods, that may be affecting how you're feeling too. Also, troubleshooting the AIP, don't forget about sleep, stress, and movement. So if your AIP is on point nutrition-wise, but if you're not feeling as good as you want to be feeling, take a look at your sleep. You know, are you sleeping solid? Are you going to sleep at a good time? Are you getting enough sleep? Your stress, are you physically stressed about, you know, are you over-exercising, or are you emotionally stressed about something? Sometimes we can't remove emotional stressors. Like I mentioned, I moved. I had to get through the move. That was stressful, but I had to get through it. And so I had to do things to try to manage that stress. So find ways to manage your stress if you need to. Also, movement. Make sure that you're not over-exercising, but that you are moving, because moving is an important part of the autoimmune protocol too. So there's all of those lifestyle factors that are involved in AIP too. So don't forget about those, and find ways, if you need to address those, to improve sleep, cut down on stress, and increase your movement. Okay, so I wanted to share two of my favorite resources for the AIP when it comes to troubleshooting. The Paleo Approach by Dr. Sarah Ballantyne. So chapter 8, I think it's chapter 8, when to start troubleshooting. Dr. Sarah goes over things like SIBO, digestion, parasites, allergens, infections, supplements, and more. So great resource if you're like, something's still not quite right. Check that out. Another of my favorite autoimmune resources is the Autoimmune Wellness Handbook, and it's like a do-it-yourself approach to living with autoimmunity. So I highly recommend this too. And lastly, I just want to say that starting and living on the Autoimmune Protocol is hard. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done. I've given birth without an epidural. Autoimmune Protocol is harder. So I just want you to know that if it feels hard, you're not alone. I'm sending you so much love and support. Those first few months are so hard, and I know you can get through them because I went through them. Nothing about AIP came naturally to me. You've got this. I know you've got this. You're stronger than you think you are, and I'm sending you so much love and support, and it's going to be worth it, and you can find wellness and relief from your autoimmune symptoms. And I am just cheering you on. And also, I would just say, celebrate every victory. Like, celebrate. I used to hate salad. I still celebrate when I eat a salad. I'm like, yeah. You know, when I cooked fish for the first time, I'm like, go me. You know, when I cut a chicken that, you know, I used to be so grossed out by like the whole chickens. Like, I'm like, ugh, I'd have like my husband cut it. Now I cook those chickens. I have no problem, you know, like cutting them, and I make bone broth out of the bones, like proof that anybody can change. So if nothing's feeling like it's coming natural to you when it comes to AIP, you are so not alone. I was there, and I just want you to know that I am supporting you, I'm cheering you on, and you've got this.
Wow, that was really great tips, and so inspiring. You can see why that I wanted to share her on this channel now. Like, really just great. It just makes you kind of feel warm inside, right? So thanks again, Shanna, for collabing with me. This was really fun, and I hope you all check out her channel, Wellness Unraveled. I will leave the link to her YouTube channel and her blog in the description below, so make sure you check it out. Please do that. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.